What's up, my financially intentional people? So I shared this post of how much I bring home on a monthly basis, gross and net. And the responses I've gotten, first of all, were pretty shocking. Actually, I'm not really surprised by much these days, especially when you post on social media, like how people react. But I wanted to use this as a lesson to talk about how payroll works, how payroll taxes work, how taxes in general works, and to remind people that America has a progressive tax system. Yeah, I'm going to share my recent pay stubs. I'm going to share a couple of caveats that go along with that. And I think it's just pretty hilarious. But it'll give you an opportunity to get to know, what my pay looks like, how it's broken down, and also how much I actually pay for taxes. And then next week, I'll talk about my cost of living in the San Francisco Bay Area and how much I spend on things. Y'all know I spend a grip on daycare, but we're going to break that down even more next week. Yeah, so this is the post that I shared in regards to how much I get paid gross versus what I take home. And the comments were wild. I'm going to try to read some of them. And if you're not watching this on YouTube, this is a great time to watch this episode on YouTube because it's a visual one. So the comments, I'm going to read some of them. It says the IRS will have to come and find me. I'm going to work hard to make $30,000 for them to leave me with 14. Heck, nah. 14 take home from 30K seems illegal. The US really be effing us over. Our government is robbing us blind and we are letting them. How the F they take more than half. And and I don't know what to say. And I be she gonna pay. I don't know what that means, but anyway. 50% in taxes, question marks, explanation point. Oh no. The government is out here robbing us in taxes. Damn girl, so happy for you though. Why you pay half in taxes? You better tax plan. Why you pay half in taxes? You need a better tax plan. Damn, that's a lot of taxes. That's a lot of taxes or something for take home after gross. Stealing more than 50% of the income should be illegal. Taxes are out of control. That Cali tax hit different. Anyway, I thought those were hilarious. So I just wanted to share some of those. But the amount of people that didn't even read the first sentence was baffling to me. I know people don't read captions, but like when you see something like that and it seems, oh my God, that's crazy. The first place I go to is the captions or the comments. I'm always trying to learn something and dive in deeper, but I'm definitely not going to make a comment until I have a little bit more context. But people are out here bold and loud and wrong. The first sentence of my caption says, that's after maxing my 403B and 457 taxes, insurance, and duals. It tells you it's just not taxes. But you know what? People gonna think what they're gonna think. But anyway, I just wanted to remind you guys that we are on a progressive tax system in the United States. The most I could ever get taxed with how much I pay is 32%. And that's only on the 32% of if I make over $182,000 after tax. So it's a progressive tax system. So the way it works is, say I made $200,000, right? So whatever that $18,000, I would get paid, I would get taxed 32% on that $18,000. So that's how it works. It's not a 32% across the board. And people just don't understand that. I guess it's a hard concept, but hopefully my girl Atia can make a post about progressive taxes and how that works, because people are out here wilding thinking that I'm going to spend 60% of my income on taxes. And then the same for California. California has the same progressive taxes, and the most I can get taxed would be 9.9%, 9.3%. And that range is crazy. That's the range for to get taxed that is 93,000 through 475,000. So I think I'm comfortably within that range. So the most I could ever pay in California taxes is 9.3%. With that, 24 to 32% plus 9.3%, that is less than 40% of taxes I'm going to pay overall. And most of those, like I said, is progressive. So a lot of things I do, I knock down my taxable income. Say, for example, I'm going to use round numbers. I make $200,000 this year, but I contribute to my 403B and 457 and max those out. The contribution limit this year is $22,000. So that's $44,000 that I am reducing my taxable income by, meaning that I'm only paying taxes on $154,000. And I have more deductions than that. I have some other stuff I'll show you when we go through my check. But yeah, like I take a lot of a deduction. So that's where most of the money that you see coming out is going. Taxes are high, let's face it, but they ain't that high. You guys, let's be real. All right, this is a picture of like my take home pay, and you'll see. So I grossed $6,800. That's not how many hours I worked. That's just like how my job or ADP codes things. It's the kind of hours I work. For example, if I worked on a Friday as a charge nurse, I'm going to get the 12 hours pay for working my regular pay. Then I'm going to get 12 hours credit for being a charge nurse. And then I'm going to get 12 hours credit for working on a weekend. So that adds up to 36 hours, even though I've only done 12 hours in that shift. So if that makes sense to you. Also, this check is a little bit lower than my normal check because I have a total of 9 hours missing of sick time. Girl, I got taken out by a stomach flu that was crazy, that went through my whole family. And so I was in the middle of the shift and then left more than like a quarter of the shift, and then had to leave and go home and then recover the next day. I missed that, and I didn't have enough sick time to cover both that shift and the next day. But I want to say the actual amount of time I worked was 36 hours for 1 week, which is 3 days, and then 17.5 hours for the next week, which is a day and a half. Another thing I got paid for was a meeting. And when I attend meetings that are in the day shift, I don't get my night shift differential. So it's paid at an hourly rate. And I'm just breaking this down for you guys because I know you guys like to do math and you're like, oh, that just doesn't add up. It's never going to add up because you have to know everything I would get paid for in my paycheck because I am benefited. I do get paid for different things. And also, we can share more about that in a minute. But yeah, so that's that. And I wanted to talk about pre-tax deductions. So with pre-tax deductions, like I said, I contribute to things that decrease my taxable income. My retirement is one thing. And like I said, I have a 403B and a 457. And if you guys want to know more about what a 457 is, leave me a comment. I'll expand on that. But the important thing to note is that you can max out a 457 at the same rate that you can max out a 403B or 401k. So the contribution limits for 2024, I believe, are $2,200 for a 403B and so that means that you can contribute another $2,200 in your deferred compensation. Therefore, I max both of those out. So that's the $1,800 that you see coming out of my check. Then I also did DEP Care FSA is you can decrease your taxable income by up to $5,000 a year for childcare expenses. So that comes out to $192 per paycheck. That is pre-tax, that gets pulled out to help me pay for the childcare costs that I have. And then the employee paid medical is actually, I only pay $1,329 a paycheck for my family of 4. Yes, it is crazy. And it is actually one of the things that we're about to strike for because they're about to increase it. And we don't want to pay more for our health insurance, but I feel very blessed that I have paid that for a family of 4. But we are sad that They are trying to take that away. Therefore, we're probably going to go on strike in the next couple of weeks. And then also, I take out $123 for just a standard healthcare FSA, which goes towards medical costs, paying co-payments, prescriptions, all of those kind of things. And I used it to get this Aura ring, actually, most recently. So you can buy health related stuff also through my FSA, or even on Amazon, there's a category that things fall under FSA, and you just have to submit those receipts and then they reimburse you. So there is that. So those are my benefits and retirements that are pre-tax that reduces my taxable income. My taxable income actually was only $4,600. From that $6,800, it brought my taxable income down to $4,600. So then when we look at taxes, you see I only paid $1,200 in taxes, and those taxes included, you can see the federal taxes. The taxes that I pay are $1,200, and federal taxes $500, Social Security tax $400, Medicare tax $94, California income tax, which people say is so high, is only $165, and then state disability taxes is $71.35. And I'm so thankful for state disability. That's what helped me stay out on my maternity leave for 10 months. So thank God for that. And I don't care if you think that adds to California taxes, because it is well worth it. And that's just not for maternity leave, that's for all disability. So that just breaks down like how much, like you see, like what I pay in my benefits, which is almost 22 something, over $2,000 versus the $1,200 I pay in taxes. So it's not all taxes, you guys. And then the last thing that I pay for are this thing that falls under this other category. Let me go back here. And then that category is my union dues. I have life insurance. EE just means employee paid, like life insurance for my kids, 74 cents a month. I have accidental death and disability insurance that I pay for. And then I have long-term disability insurance. That's the LTD 60. And then I have another like $500,000 supplemental life insurance policy. And then WIA is our hospital association that I pay $1 pay period for. Those are after tax things that they take out. That's only $97 a month. So that's how my paycheck breaks down. I hope you guys learned something about the progressive tax system, about how I get paid, what I'm contributing. And this is just one of my paychecks. And again, this is not even a full paycheck as usual, because I did not work that whole time, but is one of my most recent ones where I can show you and break down where my money goes. Hopefully this sparks some questions for you. Happy to have a conversation around it. Next week, I will use this to actually break down like how I actually spend my take-home pay, where my money goes, cost of living in the Bay Area. Hit me up in my DMs on Instagram if you guys have any questions. Happy to answer those. But were you one of those ones that thought I paid over 50% of my income to taxes? Let me know.